Hello and welcome to episode number 47 of the Wise Guys podcast. I'm John Tortorelli with my co-hosts Brian Capizzello and Justin Reagan. Today, we have much to discuss in the NFL world, starting off with Frank Reich being fired. Man, the midseason awards for all of us are the Seattle Seahawks contenders. Who's legit? A segment featuring the Titans, Jets, and Minnesota Vikings. And last but not least, we'll get maybe B-Cap's take on the Colts getting smacked by the Patriots, and Jerry's as well, but I'm sure B-Cap's going to proclaim them as the best team in the AFC East. Got a hot take for them. Starting off today, fellas, I was shocked when the Colts fired Frank Reich. It made no sense to me, because when Jim Irsay stepped in and had Reich bench Matt Ryan and myself, clearly, since it was Irsay's move, this is his way of assuring Reich his job past this season. But it's a compromise where Reich has to accept, all right, we're going to bench my quarterback that I wanted him to come in, and then I get to have some job security. But clearly that's not the case here, because Frank Reich is now no longer the Colts head coach after two disappointing seasons back-to-back. And now Jeff Saturday is the Colts' newest interim head coach. B-Cap, you're saying he was in first take last time you saw him, right? He's been coaching a little bit of high school football as well in Atlanta. What on earth is going on in Indianapolis? Is this just Tank City? Like, this might be the worst team in football.
Yeah, I think they're looking to greener pastures later down the line. I think their whole thing is the future right now. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Jonathan Taylor either gets shut down for the season or, gets a very low work rate. We already know Matt Ryan's not going to be the starting quarterback for the rest of the season. So yeah, they're in full tank mode, to be honest with you. And I mean, and this is coming from a guy, and I believe we all actually John had the Titans winning the division. I don't know if he had the Colts making the playoffs though, but me and Justin, I believe, had the Colts winning the division and making the playoffs this year before the season. And even, kind of foreshadowing for the later on in the episode, I had Frank Reich winning Coach of the Year this year for my preseason prediction. Boy, was I wrong, because now he's not even coaching for the NFL anymore.
B-Cap, you're not alone.
I know. Oh, you picked him too?
Sadly.
Oh, yeah. So we're both in that same boat, but it's all right. For the Colts, I mean, Jeff Saturday, I didn't talk about a shocker. I didn't see that coming. I don't think anybody saw that coming. A lot of outrage about it. And I understand why. It's the same reasons Steve Nash got a job, and a lot of people are outraged by that. Listen, he's got a shot, 8 games, to see what he can do, and I'm pretty sure he even said himself, this isn't just me showing myself to one team. I'm basically broadcasting myself to the 31 other teams. This is kind of like a job interview, but on the job. So we'll see how it plays out. I mean, they got the Raiders next week in Las Vegas. The Vegas Raiders have freaking we talk about Baltimore blowing leads. Vegas, I believe, is leading. I think they've blown the most 17-point leads in the history of the NFL, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, down.
Belichick's keeping that offensive coordinator role nice and warm for him. Our boy Josh.
I wouldn't be mad at it. Let me hear what you got to say, Justin.
Honestly, I'm super disappointed at the hire. I'm super disappointed in the Colts season in general. I think going into the season, I remember putting the Colts as my number 5 team. This was a team that everybody did think was a quarterback away. And while I wasn't the biggest believer in Matt Ryan, I did think if they can get to the playoffs with Phillip Rivers, they can most definitely get there with Matt Ryan. Why not? They still have a great team. Obviously, they were just missing some weapons on the outside of Michael Pittman, but you still had Jonathan Taylor. You had a very good defense, and you had a very top-notch O-line, I would say. And then all of a sudden, everything just seemed to go down bad for this Colts team. Quentin Nelson is turning into a turnstile. He's not the same O-lineman that we knew him to be just last season and the year before that. I think this is just a very odd move. And then you go out there and then you bring in Jeff Saturday, who is not even on the coaching staff. This is a move unlike any other. It's really strange to me where this Colts organization is going, and I'm not going to say I don't know if Jeff Saturday's qualified for the job. I mean, from what I heard, what I read, his high school record was 3-7. So why is he your head coach? And Brandon, you mentioned Steve Nash, and that's a perfect example of somebody who just has been in the league for a while and his name is recognized and he's going to get the opportunity because of the name. I would love to give him the benefit of the doubt for the simple fact that I like watching the guy on TV and say, yeah, maybe he can. He was a center for a long time playing alongside the second greatest quarterback of all time. So he knows a thing or two. Um, but the rest of this Colts season is a pretty much it's done.
This is actually a serious question. I would assume this is history. Frank Reich is the first, not Frank Reich, sorry, I wish Frank Reich. I want the Steelers to hire him as the OC. Jeff Saturday has to be the first NFL head coach with 0 pro or collegiate coaching experience. And if I'm a player on the Colts, like a veteran, a Quentin Nelson, and sure, the offensive line this year has been bad, but like Michael Pittman, all these talented players that are high pedigree and they're trying to win games, the type of message this sends is this organization clearly does not care about winning. And kind of like when the Eagles benched Jalen Hurts and went to Nate Sudfeld back in 2020, and Jalen Hurts is like, what is Doug Peterson doing? I feel you can lose your locker room. And for Indianapolis, sure, you're trying to get a CJ Stroud or a Bryce Young or even a Will Levis in the draft, but I feel what this move signals is a guy in Jim Irsay who, look, I'm not the most patient person in the world. I'll be honest with you, I was pissed before because I had an audio file mess up. I'm not patient at all, so I'm like Jim Irsay. But when you're an NFL owner, I think this is one of the most reactionary things to do where, especially in today's day and age, to hire someone of Jeff Irsay's ilk where it's a white male, it's going to be a bad look for many reasons when there's qualified offensive coordinators and many other minority coaches who, look, are very deserving of opportunities. So it's a terrible look in that aspect, but just generally speaking, it sends the wrong message to your team. So I'm thoroughly disappointed.
Talk about minority coaches who I don't know if he has a job right now. He might as a coordinator somewhere, but somebody who coached for the Indianapolis Colts and brought him to a Super Bowl, Mr. Jim Caldwell, who got unceremoniously kicked out the door in Detroit after making the playoffs with that team and having a positive winning record with the Detroit Lions. I wouldn't have gotten rid of Frank Reich. I would have given him one last shot with a young quarterback to see what he can do. But I agree with your points, John. This could easily lose the locker room. I mean, I know Stephon Gilmore doesn't want to be playing for a team that's not, trying to win. So yeah, this is a bad look all around, and yeah, I mean they're on to the future right now. That's really what they are. They're on to the future, I guess.
That much is for sure.
Oh yeah.
And if this quarterback they're going to draft does not hit, and the Colts went through all of this process, you fire a guy in Frank Reich you're sick and tired of. Hey, let's get Carson Wentz. Hey, let's get Matt Ryan. Hey, I'm thinking next offseason we should really go and get Derek Carr. It's like, okay, all right, enough. I really think for Jim Irsay this was reactionary. And honestly, Reich got a raw deal. I felt like he had 2 good seasons, his first and third in Indianapolis. His second one, Jacoby Brissett, whoever was his quarterback. The dude hasn't had a quarterback. I feel like he's done a pretty good job in spite of the constant turnstile at that position. This episode is brought to you by our friends at BestAmp. If you're getting into the world of sports betting, the most important thing is having the best odds. And in this market, oftentimes that can be a time-consuming endeavor. But with the BestAmp app, all you have to do is download it and sign up for all the different affiliate sportsbooks out there, and they'll give you the best odds each and every single week. But it's not just the line shopping that makes BestAmp such a useful tool. If you want to keep track of all of your bets, you can in one single place to go along with all their accounting tools and live bet trackers. So be sure to bet like a pro with the BestAmp app, and if you're going to use the app, be sure to let them know who sent you at the Wise Guys. That is WISEGUYS. Thank you so much to BestAmp for supporting the Wise Guys podcast. And as always, let's get back to it. With all that being said, fellas, we have to move on to our NFL midseason awards. Because boy, oh boy, have there been a lot of unexpected turns and also, in my opinion, pretty expected results. And the best way to start off, of course, with this award is with MVP. What do you guys think, or should we work our way up to MVP from the bottom? Ready?
MVP is a good start.
MVP is a good start. So my pick for MVP coming to this year was Josh Allen, but some of the other candidates thus far would be Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, and Geno Smith. When I look at this Bills team, rough game on Saturday, get rough game on Sunday versus the Jets, but ultimately Josh Allen this year has been the best player in football. And when you look at how good this Bills team has been, in spite of that loss, I have to go with him given the fact what he is doing right now has never been seen. Being able to year in and year out win 11 to 13 games at this type of level, we don't see this. We never do. What type of players done this?
You can't argue that. Josh Allen is having an incredible season, and while you could highlight two ugly games, that Jets game was the ugliest. I wouldn't say it's a stain necessarily. It's an ugly game. It happens. It's going to happen.
What I'm laughing at is the fact that John just said that we've never seen this happen. What do you mean we've never seen what happen?
A quarterback like Josh Allen that has led his team to 11 to 13 wins year in and year out. And right now he's averaging.
We've never seen that before. Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning. I could keep going. Drew Brees.
A quarterback of Josh Allen's style. A Cam Newton was not doing this stuff year in and year out with the efficiency. Allen right now is averaging 300 passing yards a game. His team's winning. Why are you looking at me like that? Your eyes.
I mean, okay, I guess. Listen, so Justin, you're sticking with your preseason pick is Josh Allen?
Actually, I'm not. Yeah, actually, I'm not. I would love to pick Josh Allen, and I do believe maybe by the end of the season, we probably might all have a different pick. But right now, I'm gonna have to give credit to the only undefeated team in the NFL, and I'm gonna have to say it's Jalen Hurts. I think year in and year out, the kid is getting better and better, and as the season goes on, the Eagles are looking better, and he's looking better. I mean, if you look at his passing stats, they're not going to wow you for the simple fact that they're running all over you at the same time too. So I think he has a total of 18 touchdowns and his 2 interceptions. The guy's going absolutely crazy. He's going to rush for well over 600 yards on top of that too. I think the Eagles are the best team in the NFC right now, in large part due to Jalen Hurts. And if this team is going to have Super Bowl aspirations, it's because this guy's under center.
My preseason pick was Joe Burrow, and while things didn't start off very good for my pick, things started to get rolling, and I think they are still rolling. But right now, if I would have to favor somebody, it would have to be Patrick Mahomes. And I think the biggest reason why is no Tyreek, no problem. And you can't say the same for probably any other, actually, either of your guys' picks. Take away Stephon Diggs, and not just for a couple games, take him away from the team entirely. Justin, your pick, Jalen Hurts. Take away A.J. Brown from the team entirely. Do you think that they're still doing what they're doing right now? No. Patrick Mahomes is doing things. I mean, he's still Patrick Mahomes. He's leading the league in passing yards. He's leading the league in passing touchdowns. He only has 6 interceptions. He's got a 75 QBR. And while he's got those 2 losses on his record, the one to the Indianapolis Colts and the Buffalo Bills, where he basically threw the game away by throwing the late game interception, I still just look at you take away the guy that everybody says is the most explosive receiver possibly in NFL history, and he's still doing the things that he's doing, and it doesn't really look like he's missing a beat. And you want to talk about legs, John. I mean, look no further than last night against the Tennessee Titans, where Patrick Mahomes was damn near running wherever he wanted to run on that team. And it's really weird because he doesn't look like he's a very mobile quarterback, or when he gets going, it doesn't look very, fluid like a Lamar Jackson, right? But he gets where he needs to get. And, He picks up speed. He's very Aaron. It's why Aaron Rodgers is the perfect player comp to him. They're very, very similar quarterbacks. So right now, I would have to favor Patrick Mahomes with my second pick, probably still being my preseason pick, Joe Burrow, because I think he's going to keep those stats going. But I do want to say, a dark horse who I don't think is going to get MVP because it's really a quarterback award. Tyreek Hill. I mean, talk about changing life for a quarterback in Tua Tagovailoa. Neither of you guys would be talking, and nobody in the NFL community would be talking about Tua the way that they're talking about him now without Tyreek Hill. He's special, and honestly, I just want to, if you want to jump real quick to Offensive Player of the Year, he is it. He's my pick. It's Tyreek Hill. I had Jonathan Taylor in the preseason. He has not panned out. It's not going to be him. Tyreek Hill is going to win Offensive Player of the Year. I don't think anybody can have it any differently. And if he gets to 2,000 yards, I mean, you can just bookmail it. It should be unanimous.
What we're seeing right now in football at the receiver position, and running back to a lesser degree, is flat out historical. In 2020, we see Jettas put on a record-breaking season. The following year, Jamar Chase comes in and replicates that. Last year, we see Cooper Kupp triple crown one of the greatest seasons ever by a wide receiver. And this year, Tyreek Hill, through just 9 games, fellas, 122 receiving yards per, over 1,100 yards, not even 1,000, and 76 receptions. We are just barely halfway through the season. Hell, he's on track right now to have 2,100 yards. And for Patrick Mahomes, I got to give him credit before. He talked about his rushing ability. He fractured his kneecap 2 years ago. Mahomes this year's done a phenomenal job without Tyreek, and Tyreek in Miami has made them a contender by himself. And given the fact he's playing across from Jalen Waddle, that offense this year has been flat out phenomenal because of what he has brought. So yeah, Tyreek is easily my offensive player of the year. And my initial pick in Jettas, to me, would in many years be a leading candidate for this, but unfortunately he's been massively shadowed.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with the two of you guys. I mean, the NFL as a whole this year has been spectacular on the offensive side. You could go for so many people. Person I'd love to highlight is just Nick Chubb is going absolutely crazy this year in Cleveland. Already 800 plus yards and 10 touchdowns. And as John said, we're not even halfway through the season. So that's just a shout out to him, but nobody is performing on the level that Tyreek Hill is. We can look back to that game against Baltimore with him going absolutely crazy along Jalen Waddle. I think it's just really a tribute to how special of a talent he is that he can just walk into that place. And as John said, I sung the song last week. This is a Super Bowl contender because of those weapons on the outside. And Tyreek's the number one for a reason. Probably the most explosive wide receiver I think we may have ever seen. Really. Clean sweep, Tyreek Hill, Offensive Player of the Year.
I agree with that. So next up, Defensive Player of the Year.
Real quick, I do want to shout out Derrick Henry too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Comes back. Colby, he'll be in the another award probably for some of us. Leading the NFL in rushing. Last night, another ridiculous performance, 115 yards on that Chiefs defense. But yeah, Defensive Player of the Year, fellas.
Defensive Player of the Year. Oh, go ahead, John.
My pick on here was Nick Bosa, but I'd also used Micah Parsons on pick aside. Through 9 weeks, and by the way, Justin, I'm sorry if I misspoke. We're a little bit over halfway through the year, nine games. Technically 18 weeks. It's so stupid we added 17th game. Not the point. My pick for Defensive Player of the Year has to be Micah Parsons. The player that wins this award should be on the best defense. And Nick Bosa this year has missed some time. Otherwise, I think this would be a neck-and-neck award, given the fact that Micah, within 2 years, has completely transformed this Cowboys defense into the most dominant one in football. It speaks to how special a talent, the trajectory he is already on. So far this year, 8 sacks, and that doesn't speak to his versatility. You can use him in almost any asset on the defensive end, and he's just a game wrecker. I think you guys have talked about ad nauseum. This is probably the second best, maybe the best defensive player in football in terms of impact, influence. It goes hand in hand, and just flat out versatility, the strength, size. He's not the biggest. He's only 6'2", 6'3". He's big. And then the speed, the athleticism, it is honestly out of this world.
Next level is what it is. Like you, I had Micah coming into the season as defensive player of the year, and I think Micah is probably leading it. I would favor Micah, um, but just behind him. I mean, I tweeted about this earlier today. Excuse me. This guy needs to get his love. Needs to get his flowers. And I might just be speaking just because I'm a Patriots fan, but Matthew Judon is that dude. And he's one of the best pass rushers and one of the best defenders in the league. He now leads the league in sacks. I know Micah had a week off because they had a bye week, but now the Patriots have a bye week, and Micah's got to turn to get three. Actually, he's got to get 4 sacks to take the lead in sacks, because right now Judon's got an 11.5 sacks. So I got to give my boy Judon some love. He is our best player on our team for the New England Patriots. And while I don't agree with John Wood, I don't know if he meant to say should be the defensive player of the year should be on the best defense. I think they should be on at least a top 5 defense in the league. But yeah, and I think those two guys, but I do think Micah is leading the candidacy right now.
I think it's Micah by a long shot, to be honest. More so from the simple fact that from the beginning of the season, the way he started off the season in the first 2 games, just sweeping the league by storm and drawing so much attention. Micah is on another level, being compared to some of the greats like a Lawrence Taylor in some people's eyes, which is absolutely crazy in comparison. Now, I was never blessed to watch Lawrence Taylor actually play. I've seen highlights, and he's a madman on the field. And Micah Parsons is just that. He is a madman. I mean, like it's a clean sweep here, and Brandon mentioned Judon, but I'd like to give some love to Myles Garrett up in Cleveland, because that dude consistently is showing out every single game. He's a beast. He eats in the trenches, and one, he's a freak of nature. Have you ever seen that guy dunk off vert? Like, that guy's an absolute monster. So just give love to guys like Myles Garrett. Max Crosby was my pick going into the year, and while he's not having a poor year, his team is. So it kind of just overshadows his production in my eyes.
If we're all going to give our favorite dark horse, I'm actually going to take one on a good defense, and that is Patrick Surtain of the Denver Broncos. He has been arguably the best corner in football this year. No picks, because no quarterback wants to throw near him. In the same way Micah Parsons has come in within 2 years, been an absolute superstar. What Patrick Surtain has done on that back end, Justin Simmons missed some time, has helped this Broncos defense be at the very top of the league. And a week ago when I said the Broncos had a chance to make the playoffs, it wasn't because of their offense, it was because of that defense. And year 2, Patrick Surtain is already the best player in that unit by a convincing margin.
John, were you trying to sneak diss the Patriots defense and say they're not a good defense, or?
Oh no, I was dissing Max Crosby. Not really, it wasn't really Max Crosby's fault. His defense is bad.
If you want to throw out dark horses, let me just shed some love, because you threw out a losing team. Let me throw out a team that's actually winning. Uh, I'm gonna shout out to Quinnen Williams, bro, on the Jets. Yeah, he's not defensive player of the year, but the impact that guy makes when healthy, you can see it clear as day in that defense. He's an absolute monster, and also one of the best personalities in football.
Mm. Speaking of more teams that win games, we're going to move on to Coach of the Year next. Fellas, this has been an insane year for head coaches. Brian Daboll and Robert Saleh in New York. My pick is undefeated. There's, of course, Mike McDaniel, Kevin O'Connell, and even Matt Eberflus only has 3 wins in Chicago. We got 4 rookie head coaches who have been very impressive this year, to go along with a handful of veterans in Mike Vrabel. Bill Belichick's done a good job, and a couple of others. But my pick has to be Nick Sirianni in Philadelphia. I always think back to that stupid press conference where he made a big deal about it, and I look at what he has done in Philadelphia since then. Offensively, this team has not only maximized Jalen Hurts, they've put him in the picture-perfect situation. And a kudos goes to their GM and Howie Roseman, but we would be remiss if we didn't acknowledge how great this offense has been because of the system put in place. Nick Sirianni has hired a great staff. Defensively, the team is clicking on all cylinders. There is no weakness, And what do they do on Sunday? They beat every single team they play. And when they play take my Steelers, they annihilate them. It'll be embarrassing. To me, right now, the Eagles are the most complete team in the league. And I think it all begins with the system and culture that has been cultivated by a guy in just his second season in Nick Sirianni.
Yeah, that's a good show. So like I said earlier, Frank Reich was my preseason pick. That didn't pan out. So for me, I
Let's
wrote
not
down
talk about it.
yeah, I wrote down 6 names. And that might sound crazy, but I think there really are 6 people in contention right now. And I think the way this season plays out the next 8 weeks is really going to determine which one of these 6 is going to be the guy. I got Nick Sirianni, obviously undefeated at 8-0 with the Philadelphia Eagles. Brian Daboll with the New York Giants. They're 6-2 right now. Mike McDaniel with the Miami Dolphins, I believe 6-3. Pete Carroll, got to give him some love with 6-3 for the Seattle Seahawks being the number 1 team in the NFC West. Nobody saw that coming before the season. Kevin O'Connell at 7-1 with the Minnesota Vikings, leading the NFC North. And then obviously Robert Saleh with the New York Jets at 6-3. I think those 6 guys are the real top contenders for this award. So I do think Saleh is. I think the Jets are in for a tough stretch coming up to finish out the season. So I don't think he's going to be up in there. I would probably have to go with. I think Nick Sirianni is probably going to take this award home because I think the Eagles are going to keep striding. I mean, there's a real shot that they could go undefeated. I don't think they will. I think they're going to lose 2 to 3 games, but they're doing phenomenal work right now. So shout out Nick Sirianni.
I'm going to keep this award in New York, and I'm going to go with Brian Dable. I think going into the season, nobody had any expectations for the Giants. Well, correction, the expectation was to lose. That's what everybody thought. They weren't going nowhere. Daniel Jones is under center. Saquon Barkley's always injured. They have no weapons on the outside. It's just been a revolving door of head coaches from Ben McAdoo, Pat Shurmur, Joe Judge, and here we go. This guy from Buffalo is supposed to be the savior. And you know what? Goddamn right he is. He definitely has been. The Giants are ahead of schedule. I don't think, and same thing with the Jets. You could really go either way with this award. And Brandon, you listed so many head coaches. All of them are worthy of this award. Each and every one of them, because the simple fact that, personally, for me in New York, seeing both teams playing playoff like football, they're getting ready for potential postseason action. That's almost unheard of. So to see what Daniel Jones and the Giants are doing under Brian Daboll, I think I just have to put him number 1. That energy, it's different. And football is better when the Giants are competitive too. And I just really can't see this award getting out of New York because I think they still have some more winning to do. I don't think it's stopping here, boys.
Your boy over here named all those head coaches, talking about your boy me, and I just didn't acknowledge Pete Carroll, who to me wouldn't any other season, alone Brian Dable win this award. Those 3 guys have done literally a phenomenal job this year. We don't see this very often. It is the year of coaches. What do you know? They win football games in the NFL a lot. So next award up is going to be Offensive Rookie of the Year. Just like the last 2 years, we have seen so many standouts, particularly at the running back position, like many would have expected after seeing this last quarterback draft class. And fellas, there are a lot of options right now. Breece Hall, of course, tore his ACL. He was a leading candidate. Now the top 3 guys, in my opinion, would be Chris Olave, Dameon Pierce, and K9. Kenneth Walker, in the last 4 weeks after becoming the Seahawks starter, has been absolutely phenomenal. Last game against the Cardinals, single-handedly took over in the second half, and his body control, just like Dameon Pierce, is already among the very best in the NFL. For me, so far it would be Dameon Pierce, but with the level that Kenneth Walker has been playing at recently, I had to put my money on him because that Seattle offense is rolling. Give me K9. So far to start this year, Dameon Pierce is 600 yards already, but K9 has about 550, and he's gone to the end zone how many times? I check Football Reference. 7 rushing TDs with 570 rushing yards. And no, 5 yards a carry.
Yeah, two of the guys you name. I mean, Damian Pierce and Kenneth Walker III are my two top candidates, and I would have to favor Kenneth Walker, and simply just because the Seahawks are going to be in a better position later in the season, actually winning games and competing for a playoff spot, while the Texans are not. And Kenneth Walker, like you said, 4 games as the lead back, 570 yards, 7 touchdowns, and he's got a game where he had 167 yards rushing. This guy is the real deal. So I would be leading with Kenneth Walker the third.
Yeah, I have to roll with you guys on that one. I'm going to roll with Kenneth Walker. I mean, 7 touchdowns in 5 games, 7 rushing touchdowns in 5 games. The guy's going absolutely crazy. And it's kind of cool to see a running back go wild in Seattle to get you a little excited and think about the days of Marshawn Lynch. So I have to go with K9 for the simple fact. Also, he's been running wild for my fantasy team, and we're undefeated right now. So thank God for the waiver wire.
To all the fantasy football owners out there, I like playing fantasy because what I'll do every year, Justin, is just take all of the rookie running backs. So this year I took Bruce, I took Kenneth, and I took Damian. And of course, Bruce got hurt, so I just replenished it in both of my leagues. And basically, the reason why it's my first year playing was Alvin Kamara's rookie year. So yeah, if you play fantasy football, pro tip, just take all the rookie running backs, man, especially in a class like this. They'll probably be happy at the end of the year. Next award up is Defensive Rookie of the Year. So far this season, there have been a lot of very big standouts, and they haven't been edge rushers per se. My pick was Aiden Hutchinson. He's had some good weeks, he's had some bad weeks, and he's had some weeks in between. So far, the leading candidates would have to be Devin Lloyd of the Jacksonville Jaguars, who had a very strong start to the year, but it's kind of slowed down since Tariq Woolen of the Seattle Seahawks, 5th round pick. And last but not least, Sauce Gardner. 2 best nicknames in football might be Sauce and K9. With all that being said, boys, this guy doesn't get the credit he deserves, but right now, this Seattle Seahawks defense is rolling. Give me Tariq Woolen, because everyone's going to talk about Sauce. They love him. They love what he's brought to this Jets defense, and he has truly been a top 10 corner as a rookie. But Tariq Woolen has been right there. In terms of the production, 4 picks in 9 games, in a touchdown, a goal off 8 passes defended, 2 fumble recoveries, and man, that dude is one you don't want to throw near, because when a corner's 6'4" and is one of the best athletes in the field, oftentimes he is going to make plays. So give me Tariq, man.
Yeah, I think it's I mean, my preseason pick was Aiden Hutchinson, like John. And I should have just mentioned Sky Moore was my preseason pick for Offensive Rookie of the Year. That has not panned out the way I thought it could have panned out, but that's neither here nor there. Defensive Rookie of the Year, I think it's either Sauce Gardner or Tariq Woolen. Goddamn, on that day 3 of the draft, was I looking at the players that were available, and I was like, Patriots, please take Tariq Woolen. I mean, I just loved. I fell in love. During the draft, the way I look at it, I don't really watch college football. I fall in love with the physical attributes because that's really all I can look at. Without knowing their story or whatever, to being able to understand their intangibles. And Tariq Woolen just screamed off the page physical attributes. 6'4", right? What is he, like 220 maybe? Runs a 4.4 or 4.3. Just absolutely insane stuff. Sadly, we didn't take him, and that's another feather in Pete Carroll's cap where he's able to find these cornerbacks late in the draft. I mean, namely Richard Sherman and Brandon Browner, right?
Kim Chancellor is a safety.
Cam Chancellor too. Yeah, he was a deep pick too. But
those
I'm going
physicals
to lead.
beat cap really sound like N'Keal Harry.
No, N'Keal Harry couldn't run like that. Sauce Gardner, I'm going to favor him, and maybe it is that I'm falling in love with the name. I love the name, but I think he's just doing incredible stuff. He's also 6'4", runs a fast 40. I mean, the guy, he's next level. And I saw a stat that if they're hoping him to be the next Revis, apparently he's already having a better rookie season than Darrelle Revis did. So, future is bright for Sauce Gardner. But you know what? maybe down the line, Justin, we might see a history repeating itself where a famous cornerback from the Jets comes to play for New England and gets himself a Super Bowl. How you like them apples?
I don't know. The way the Jets are playing, they might be getting a Super Bowl before us. So that's just me being honest. But I want to show love.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm gonna roll with you guys, and I'm gonna say so. Show some love to Jack Jones and up in New England. He's been a great rookie for our defense. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with Sauce. I remember in the preseason he was interviewed by a little kid. I don't know if you guys seen this video, but he's interviewed by a little kid, and this little kid asks him, "My dad said that after every Jets win, he's gonna treat me to ice cream." So he asks Sauce, he's like, how many times am I gonna have ice cream this year? Sauce is like, a whole lot. This past weekend, that kid got ice cream cake for that win that they got. Sauce came up with a big pick off of Josh Allen on Sunday, and biggest moments of that game, stepping up. He is exactly what they expected him to be. He's going to be a number one shutdown corner, and I think he's going to be rewarded with it with Defensive Rookie of the Year at the end of the season. The Jets found themselves an absolute gem.
My pick, by the way, was Tariq, and both of those two are physical specimens. The length, the size, and really the fundamentals with the footwork. They're probably going to be two of the top five corners convincingly with Patrick Surtain. I mean, I wish the Steelers can get one of those guys, but they'll probably reach your Joey Porter's son because they like taking former players. Not the point. Last award up, fellas. Comeback Player of the Year. My pick coming in. Wait, who was my pick? It was Lamar Jackson. Bizarre one. He's not the comeback player of the year. It is far and away Geno Smith. You go from being a career backup, a guy that failed in New York, to a legitimate candidate, a dark horse, sure, for MVP, an elite quarterback. So you go from career backup to MVP. This is the closest thing we've seen to Kurt Warner, but the difference is Kurt Warner was an MVP before that, and then he got back to level. Geno Smith was one of the worst quarterbacks last time we saw him, and he had some good moments in 2021, but what he has done this year is truly historical. And I don't like throwing that word around too often, but we've literally seen these guys shattering records at Offensive Rookie of the Year, and now a Comeback Player of the Year. But I think he overshadows a few players here that I think one of you two might take.
My preseason pick was CMC. He still probably has a case for it. Going down the line with playing with the 49ers now. Somebody that should get some love is JQ's boy Saquon Barkley. He's playing great. He's bouncing back this year. But I gotta agree with John. Geno Smith is playing outstanding football, and I don't think anybody saw it coming. So that's why I think he is unequivocally the comeback player of the year. I mean, nobody saw this coming ever. So give all the props to Geno Smith, and I think the biggest way we can show him that he is getting his flowers and his love and respect is by giving him this comeback player of the year award.
This is a team that we didn't expect anything out of when we talked about the Seattle Seahawks. We didn't think, it was either Drew Lock or Geno Smith. And I remember in the beginning of the season, I was like, why don't you just start Drew Lock for the simple fact that he's younger and maybe he does have a future? Yeah, and I thought we already know what we're going to see out of Geno Smith. And God, man, I am completely wrong. I've been proven wrong a ton since we started this podcast. But you know what? I'm happy to eat my words because this guy just shows up and he shows out for this squad. You didn't expect too much out of him. You go from Russ to Geno, you expect massive regression. Instead, you progress. And I think Geno definitely deserves this award. He's playing up to par with some of the best quarter. He's playing better than guys like Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford, who you would normally would put on top of this list.
And Russell Wilson, who the team traded away. To read Russell Wilson's stat line for you guys, leads the NFL in completion percentage at 73%. His career average before that was 58. just 4 interceptions. And in New York, that was kind of one of his biggest issues. He threw a pick 6 yesterday against the Cardinals and responded very well. The 15 touchdowns, 244 passing yards a game with a 68 QBR. Truly been a top 10 quarterback this year, better than Aaron Rodgers and better than those guys you named before. And what that leads us to, fellas, is an opinion that's been brewing in my brain for a couple of weeks now. I said when the Seahawks beat the Broncos in week 1, that was their Super Bowl. And the fact of the matter is, not only was I critically wrong there, they won the offseason by a country mile. And they also have a chance this year to go to the Super Bowl if everything continues to play out the way it has. This offense is one of the most balanced units in football. And I want to talk about this draft class they just had. It's elite. They can run the football with the very best in the NFL. And defensively, over the last 4 weeks, they've continued to get better and better. They get to the quarterback, they generate pressure, they get sacks, and the back end, along with Tariq Woolen, Kobe Bryant this year has been playing very well. The forced fumbles, picks, whatever it may be. If this Seattle defense can continue to play the level it has over the last month, there is no reason to say they can't win multiple playoff games this year when you look at the state of this current NFC. I have to say it, guys. Everybody was wrong about the Seattle Seahawks. No one was right. When you look at what the dialogue was this offseason, it was all about Pete Carroll's outdated system, right? He couldn't win without Russell Wilson. And John Snyder could not draft, which was true. He could not draft to save his life. After 2012, they probably drafted worse than every team in football. Literally had 6 picks hit in like 7 years. And it helped they were trading all these draft picks for Jamal Adams and other players who did not fix anything for them. And meanwhile, they're paying Russell Wilson all of this money. Not only is Pete Carroll's system not outdated, because he has an elite offense with his system right now, once he got that elite running back, but they had the best draft in football by a country mile. Not only that, they probably hit on as many picks in the 2022 NFL draft as they did in the last 8, 9, 10 years. You think about it. In all of those years, the only picks they truly hit on were Frank Clark, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, the punter, and what's his face? I'm blanking on his name. Dixon, Jordan Brooks, and Shaquille Griffin. Those are the only picks they really hit on, 6 of them. In this last year's draft, you get yourself your tackle combo for the future, your quarterback duo for the future, an elite running back. Kenneth Walker may already be a top 10, probably top 5, honestly, the way he's playing right now, and a promising edge rusher in Boye Mafe out of Minnesota. So they nailed the draft, and to go along with that in free agency, they go in, and of course, Geno Smith's playing out of his mind right now, being paid like a backup, but they get themselves more players on that defense, players that have Usena Nwasu, who has broke out this year at edge rusher, and this defense over the last week has gone from one of the worst in football to one of the best. And so let me say it, man. If Pete Carroll can continue to win games like this with a defense that is rolling, and John Snyder, keep in mind, in next year's draft class, they already paid their dues to the New York Jets with the Jamal Adams trade. They have 2 firsts from the Denver Broncos in their own and 2 seconds. If they draft another class anywhere near the level of this, they're a Super Bowl contender for the next 5 years. Because when you look back a decade ago, in 2010, when they drafted, I don't know, Cam Chancellor in the 5th round, Russell Okung and Earl Thomas in the 1st round, and Golden Tate in the 2nd, they then go out the following year and get Richard Sherman in the 5th, Byron Maxwell in the 6th, and KJ Wright along with those 2 guys. And then 2012, they get Irvin, they get Bobby Wagner in the 1st, or in the 2nd, and they get Russell Wilson in the 3rd. Bruce Irvin now is a 35-year-old veteran on this team. He resigned with the team this offseason, and all of a sudden, the Seattle Seahawks are back. They're a top 3 team in the NFC, and with how hot they've been playing recently, let me just say it again, they can win multiple playoff games, and who the heck would have thought this was possible 2 months ago? Not me.
Brandon, I hate that he's setting me up for this to burst his bubble because I want to be nice to Seattle. I just spoke highly on Geno Smith, but this is all nice until they run into the 49ers. Record-wise, yes, they're the best team in the NFC West. But in reality, in the real world, when they go toe-to-toe with San Francisco, they will lose. And if they get to play them in the playoffs, if they're lucky enough to go head to head with the 49ers, they will lose again. So, yes, a spectacular season this is for Seattle, proving so many people wrong. They're not the best team in this division. This is a beautiful start. It's a beautiful story. I love Cinderella stories, but at the end, we do have to come back to reality, and I do believe that they will go back to reality, and San Francisco is going to take their rightful spot on the throne of the NFC West.
So, I mean, I agree with your early sentiments. I mean, we just sat here and praised Geno Smith and gave him his flowers, but it's just winning multiple playoff games. I don't see that. Their schedule down the stretch is a pretty tough one. I mean, next week they've got, or this upcoming week, I should say, they're heading to Germany to take on Tampa Bay. They've got to play the Rams twice, and I know the Rams haven't played well, but the Rams swept them last year. So that, and they're still vying for their spot. They're only 3-5. They've still got to play the 49ers. They got to play the Chiefs, and they got to play the Jets. Those are tough games to end the season. In terms of future, I don't want to. I want to give Geno his love now. I just don't know if it's a sustainable thing. I don't know if he's going to be able to continue this. Is this just a one-time thing, or can he actually sustain this and keep this up? Like, is this the real Geno Smith, or is the real Geno Smith somewhere in the middle of what we've seen before and what he is now? That could be the case. So I'm not going to blow smoke up their ass like you. I do think they're going to make I do think they're going to make the playoffs this year. I do believe that, but they've got a tough road ahead, and yeah, it's. Yeah, they're not winning multiple playoff games. That is not happening.
Yeah. Okay. So first off, they have a 2-game lead in the NFC West, and Ray, Geno Smith is better than Jimmy, and what we're seeing right now from Geno Smith is legit. This is who he is. He's a much better quarterback. And what are we comparing him to? Because he's been a backup for 6 years now. So the quarterback in New York, that is long gone. That's so far away in the distance. I'm not even taking that into account because we saw last year Geno played very well as well. And you look at this offense, fellas, an elite running game, a running back in Kenneth Walker who's probably going to finish with 1,200 yards. He's been that good, and he's been that much of a game changer. And then you look at the talent. B-Cap, I know you like Noah Fant. Last night, against the Cardinals, big-time 51-yard play. You add that with DK Metcalf, who has built a strong connection with Geno Smith. Tyler Lockett, who's still one of the better number 2s in the NFL. And defensively, if this group, like I said before, if they can continue to play at the pace they're playing at right now, this is a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense, maybe top 5 defensively. So you guys can say, oh, you're blowing smoke up there. You know what, John? We don't know if Geno Smith's going to keep this up. The fact of the matter is, Brennan, the Rams are a below-average football team. They're just not a good team. Matt Stafford this year has not been good, and Geno Smith has cleared him. They can't run the football, and their offensive line is a train wreck. The Buccaneers have no explosiveness whatsoever, and for as solid as Tom Brady has been, they're also a below-average, poorly coached football team. And I have to give Pete Carroll his respect because what he has done right now shows me he is still an elite coach that gets the most out of his talent. He's run off Russ, and now he's winning Geno Smith. At the end of the day, they're better coached than those two teams. They have more talent, they're more dynamic, they're more balanced, and defensively, they're better. There's nothing those two teams have over the Seahawks this year because Geno Smith has been better than Tom Brady and better than Matthew Stafford. And next week, they're going to beat the Buccaneers, extending this to a 5-game winning streak in Germany.
They're not beating the Buccaneers. So you want to put a bet on it?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. Down. So here's the thing, right?
What's
just a bet? I mean, we haven't really put a thing down on any of our bets this season, so that can be discussed off air if we want to. But let me get into this.
We're on.
If I were to take Geno Smith right now, right, and stick him in Tampa Bay, and I were to take Tom Brady and put him in Seattle, do you believe Tampa Bay would be 4-5? No, they would have a worse record, right? Okay. And if you put Tom Brady in Seattle, they are either 6-3 or they have a better record. Okay, that's first off. So him playing better than Tom Brady, I don't believe that, because without Tom Brady, this Tampa Bay team is dead in the water. The only reason anybody gives them a shot is who? Tom Brady. Okay? Do you know that Tom Brady leads the NFL in touchdown and interception ratio? Realize he's not turning the football over. So if he were to be turning the football over, they would have a much worse record because they would be losing much more games. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are right there, and the win yesterday was such a big momentum builder, because it's not just the fact that they did win, it's how they won. It's the fact that Tom Brady, for the 55th time in his career, let me repeat that again, the 55th time in his career, driving down the field and getting a game-winning drive, now leads the NFL in NFL history with most game-winning drives, breaking Peyton Manning, the tie they had at 54.
You play for a million years, you'll eventually get it.
That's not the case at all. That is not the case. So anybody can be clutch.
Geno Smith, the shield is taken.
Anybody can be clutch. Anybody can be clutch. Is that what you're saying right now? Anybody can be clutch.
What was Ben Roethlisberger last year?
That's not the question I'm asking you. You just said that if you play long enough, anybody can get that record. That's not the case. 55 game-winning drives.
You play for 20 years, 22 years, it's eventually going to come around, man.
No, it's
Ben
not.
Ben Roethlisberger last year was one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, and he led the NFL in that stat.
This is career.
Oh.
How many game-winning drives does Ben Roethlisberger have?
No one's asking what Tom Brady did in 2014. They're asking how's Tom Brady look in 2022.
But he cares about that. That's not what I'm saying. He broke a record, so we're giving him the props that he broke the record. Did he not just do a game-winning drive on Sunday? I'm not talking about 2014. He broke the record yesterday. That was another feather in his cap.
Sure.
He also passed the 100,000-yard mark, but I guess that's just oh wow, he passed 100,000. That means nothing, right? 100,000 means nothing now.
But hasn't been said about Tom.
Oh, see again. So he has literally bumped his level of greatness so far up. Tom Brady has that. Passing 100,000 yards postseason and regular season is Tom. What has Tom not done? That's how great Tom Brady is.
In respect, though, Tom Brady's done everything, so it's just it doesn't wow.
Yeah, it should. That's 100,000 yards. Do you know who the second leader is?
It'd help if he was actually winning.
Timeout. Drew Brees. You know how many yards Drew Brees has career? 85,000. So he's leading them by 15,000+ yards.
Yeah, and that's fantastic. Nobody's not. Well,
all right. And talking about winning, you want to crack that joke. He just won on Sunday. Okay, so that's a win.
Was inches away from being 3-6.
Does not matter.
A win is a win.
Did he get a win?
Still under 500.
Doesn't matter.
The Falcons are winning that division. Marcus Mariota.
No, they're not. How much you want to put on that?
Well, right now they are.
Oh no, they're not. They're not. They're in second place.
They're tied.
No, the tiebreaker goes to Tampa Bay because they beat them head to head, and they're going to beat them head to head again.
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? I don't know. That's such a confident.
The Falcons almost came back to beat them last time, and the Falcons are probably
the Falcons. Do you know the Falcons' record against Tom Brady? It's not a very favorable one. It's not a very favorable one.
What's Geno Smith's record against Tom Brady? It doesn't matter right now. He's winning more games.
Know. I don't probably. I don't know. 1-3. Okay, so you do that off the top of your head, and you want to spout that off. Listen, John. I understand you want to have this love for Geno Smith, right?
It's not about Geno. It's about the Seahawks. What's missing on that team?
You're blowing. I'm not talking about the team, but you're blowing Geno up. You're saying he's better than Tom Brady right now.
He's playing better football.
Okay, so let me ask you. So you didn't answer my question when I first started off, right? Because I guess you don't want to answer because you know the answer is going to destroy your argument. If I take Tom Brady, I put him in Seattle, and I put Geno and put him in Tampa, what's happening?
Tom Brady will win more football games. You're right on that. But guess what? It means nothing because the argument I am making here is that Geno Smith is leading a Seahawks team that's a contender. They go multiple playoff games.
I'm not
So are the
saying that
Buccaneers.
he's not leading a team and doing well. They're not contenders. Did they not get beat? How many points did they get beat by the 49ers? 20. Yes, they did. 27 to 7, week 2. Okay, and I know you want to laugh at the Rams, right? And you want to have your pot shots, which is fine. They deserve it. They haven't played well. Let me ask you a question. Another one. Divisional games usually can a bad team in the same division as a good team beat them? How many times have we seen that in NFL history?
For sure. That's why the Falcons
Too many
can beat
times
the
to count.
Buccaneers.
Too many times to count. All right, that's fine. You can make that point. But you're disrespecting the Rams again. So I'm coming to that point. You're telling me that the Rams can't steal a win off of that? Off the Seahawks?
Winning both.
I didn't say they're going to win both. I said, can they? That's not the question I asked you. You're going to listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. I said, can they steal a game off that?
That's not going to catch them up in the standings. One single.
I'm not saying I'm not talking about the Rams catching them in the standings, because there's another team too, about the 49ers, that you were riding them pretty hard before the season too. And I guess you've just fallen off of that, even though they've added CMC. Jimmy Garoppolo is playing better football than we've seen before. And you've called him the perfect game manager quarterback. You love Kyle Shanahan. You love Deebo Samuel.
But I don't
you
love the
everything.
durability
You love
in that
Nick
team.
Bosa. You love
All
everything.
of their stars offensively are injury prone. CMC, Kittle,
Is DK
and
Metcalf
Deebo.
not had injuries in the past?
Sure, but this is the most balanced.
Is Kenneth Walker not coming off like a terrible injury?
Yeah, in college right now, dude, the dude's balling out.
I'm not saying they're not balling out.
John blew the Seahawks up so much that they're just getting slandered right now. Nobody wants to slander them, bro.
I'm saying they could go to the NFC Championship game.
Oh no, you're
yes,
kidding
I am.
me, John. You're absolutely kidding me, man.
Time out.
Why is that so crazy with the way their defense is playing?
They beat in Philadelphia because you believe Philly's the best team in the NFC, right? They're not beating Philadelphia.
The Seahawks defensive front is playing very well.
And Philly's is not?
Well, Philly's hasn't been the most consistent in the running
game. You literally just said 30 minutes ago that Philadelphia has the best team in the NFL.
One playoff game.
All right, so you want to go one playoff game, right? I'll put my money on a Tom Brady-led team can beat a Seattle Seahawks team in one playoff game. How about that? One game, I'll take Tom Brady. How about that?
This is an actual calculated approach, though. You've watched the Buccaneers play bad football with bad coaching, and you're saying, I'll just take them to win because they got Tom Brady. I'll take the Seahawks because this offense is balanced, and the running game is going to be conducive in December and January. I think they can play their best football later in the year. And given the fact they don't have an injury-prone offense like the Niners, I have a lot of faith in them being able to beat a team like San Francisco if the Niners miss one or two of those stars. And with the way Geno is playing right now, I can't discount him as well, especially look at what this defense is doing because, hey, look, man, that's a lot of rookies over there. They're only going to get better. And with how much they're getting the quarterback after changing their defensive scheme this offseason, I'm telling you right now, the Seattle team is only getting better. And so it's not crazy. They can win a playoff game at Lumen. I think they go in the second round.
No, but you didn't say win a playoff game. You said multiple.
Exactly. I think they're going in the second rounds. And then from there, they can win one playoff game easily.
No. You said multiple. So you think at least, bare minimum, your prediction at least is NFC Championship game because you said multiple.
I'm expecting them to win a playoff game.
They're not winning this division.
I don't think they're winning this.
All right, I'll make a bet with you, and I'm willing to talk stakes. I don't think the 49ers are going to lose a single game the rest of the season.
Who do they play? I know you said that last week, last episode.
I think the 49ers are going to lose the second game. And you're right before I made the mistake. They lost by 20 in week 2 because they didn't want to run the football. They were down. There's a better team now.
No, yeah, I do think the 49ers are winning that division. I don't. Yeah, no, I mean, we're going to see it this Sunday morning in Germany, neutral field, Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Seattle Seahawks. And Tampa Bay is going to be getting healthier. Antoine Winfield should be back. The cornerbacks are back. Akeem Hicks is back. And I'm ready to freaking go, dude. All right, Tom
How about
Brady
the offense that can't score?
Did they score when they needed to?
Took them a while.
Did they score when they needed to?
Against a below-average Rams team. Sure.
Oh, below average, but they were holding them down, right?
They were struggling against a
Yeah.
bad football team.
Yeah. And
They barely squeaked out a win.
okay, do the
Barely
Rams
at home.
play? Did the Rams play in the NFL?
Yes, but it's terrible
Okay.
offensive line with a quarterback that is struggling with no running game
Okay.
and literally no receiver to go to outside Cooper Kupp. A defense that falls off a cliff after their top two superstars.
But see again, you say that, but literally right before the game-winning drive, the Rams defense that you're calling below average made a stop on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
A bad offense.
But you called them bad too.
Two bad football teams going head to head. Someone's going to usually win. It's not that confusing. They're below average. Neither are a playoff team.
But again, it's not even about them winning. It's about how they won. See, again, you're just shrugging your shoulders. Like, is Aaron Donald not playing football then? Is the Buccaneers' interior offensive line trash? Why didn't Aaron Donald make a bigger impact? You've called him probably the best player in football, I think. Where was he then? Is he not a non-factor now? Is he not that good? Aaron Donald's just not that good, right?
I don't think he's been the best player in football this year. I think it's been.
But again, is he just he's just not that good, right? He's just not that good anymore.
This is the ultimate team sport.
Again, but we're talking about making a play in the final seconds of the game. Why couldn't Aaron Donald make that play?
Dude, it's football any given Sunday. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
Okay,
the
but
Buccaneers
see, we can't just use that excuse because we can go tit for tat with that all day. We can do that all day. I'm talking about a specific moment. I'm talking about a specific moment in the game with 44 seconds left in the game. Why didn't Aaron Donald make the play? Is he washed now, or is he still one of the best defensive players in football? I'm asking you a straight up question.
This is like a very pointless debate.
It's not pointless. If Aaron Donald is one of the best defensive players in football, should he not be able to make a play late in the game?
You're looking at one possession to justify a team when you have
it not the winning possession?
Full 9 weeks of football to look at them play, and you should come to the conclusion they are not very good.
Okay, so was Cincinnati your pick last year that would make it to the Super Bowl? Did you think they had any shot? Were they playing good football, really? No, I think they were like 5-4 at this point last year.
They were also beating teams like the Packers in their regular season as well. So they were clearly a playoff caliber team.
No, but again, I'm not saying playoff. I said Super Bowl. They made it to the Super Bowl. You're telling me
the
that
Raiders
a team
and Titans in the
struggling
first 2 rounds
through the first 9 weeks of the season can't figure it out in the late half when Tom Brady has really made his money in November, in December, playing his best football, getting healthy.
You could project that Bengals team getting better, though, with how young they were offensively. Young head coach. Like, Todd Bowles not a good coach.
Nobody figured it. Again, this is you're rewriting history because a couple months ago, you were saying that Todd Bowles is a very good head coach. You literally said
off of one season in New York. And he hasn't been very good this year.
You said that. Those are the words that came out of your mouth. So now he's – so
and
where
then
is
you
Todd Bowles
what you think.
So you're saying Todd Bowles is what, a bottom 5 head coach?
Probably bottom 10.
Bottom 10.
Yeah, bottom 3rd.
Okay. So now he's bottom 3rd. And
before it, in the middle of the pack because of 1 year in New York.
This debate isn't going anywhere.
It's pointless. I don't know why he's just trying to disacknowledge, not even address the fact the Buccaneers aren't a good team. It's fine. They're just not very good.
How is
okay. Seattle is a good football team with a.
Nobody's arguing that they're not a good football team. They're going. So what are you going to say, John? What are you going to say Sunday night or Sunday afternoon when the Buccaneers beat them? What are you going to say? What excuse are you going to come up with when Tom Brady leads a game-winning drive down the field and wins them?
Come to this conclusion. Like, if you've been watching football this year, like the Seahawks should win this game by multiple scores.
So, all right. Let's be honest, right? Did they not have a chance to win the game against Green Bay? Yes. Did they not have a chance to win the game against the Steelers? Yes. Did they not have a chance to win the game against the Ravens? Yes. So you're saying that these are teams that
they
are
lost
getting
the
blown
Panthers
out.
And Mitch Trubisky in back-to-back weeks.
Okay, fine. It doesn't matter though. That does matter to me.
You lost 2 backup quarterbacks.
Okay,
that's an issue.
It is a problem.
If your quarterback's Tom Brady is the greatest of all time, maybe we should readjust our kind of.
So Tom Brady plays defense, right?
It's the ultimate team sport, like I said.
So wait, so ultimate team sport, but you want to just pick out Tom Brady. You don't want to mention the offensive line struggle. You don't want to
That's
mention
the
that
only
his
reason why you
receivers are
believe in
struggling.
Tampa. That's the only reason. You said this would be a bad football team, one of the worst in football at that time.
No, what you're okay. See, now you're trying to twist your words by not answering the point that I just made to you. See, you don't want to answer that question. What do you mean? I don't know. You keep misconstruing what I'm saying to you, and you don't want to answer that, but you just want to fire a question back at me when I'm asking you a direct question.
Do you not get where I'm coming from? The Buccaneers are a bad team, and Tom Brady is 45. He's not overcoming that. End of discussion.
He overcame it yesterday, but apparently, I guess
regardless of them overcoming last week's game, the Buccaneers do not look like a good football team.
Okay, but again, you didn't answer my direct question again that I asked earlier. What are you going to say when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the Seattle Seahawks? Again, you're going to laugh.
The same thing when the Panthers are going to beat the Giants,
and then you do this
right?
again. See, again, he's deflecting. He doesn't want to answer the question. Does he not want to answer the question?
Are the Buccaneers favored on Sunday? Will the Buccaneers be favored? What do you think?
They are. No, let's check it right now. Let's check it right now to see if they are favored.
I don't believe it.
They're favored?
I believe so. I see Tampa minus 2.5.
They'll put up on that stamp. No way.
Yeah, they're favored by 2.5. So again, what are you going to say? See, again, now Vegas is tripping. So everybody's got a conspiracy against the Seattle Seahawks because John says so. So John, I ask you again, what are you going to say when Tom Brady leads a game-winning drive?
They're not going to go on a game-winning drive, bud.
Right.
Sorry.
Okay.
Why don't you guys place a bet and actually talk stakes? Because this is just
I'll put $20 on it right now.
25.
25.
25? Okay.
Let's do it.
Again, but
the Seahawks, I'm so confident in the Seahawks. If they win, give me 10. I'll give you 25 if they lose.
What you want? You're going to give me $10?
I feel bad. I feel bad because the Seahawks are a much better football team right now.
Mm-hmm.
You think this is an easy bet?
I'm very confident in my Seahawks, man.
Okay. Your Seahawks. Now they're your Seahawks. Wow.
Well, I'm putting my money on them, so I'm rooting for them now.
Yeah, that is true. If your money's on them,
my money's on
this guy over here.
Yes.
Now they're your Seahawks.
That's 5 seconds ago, they are.
Yeah, it was 5 seconds ago.
That is a fact. If I put money on the Bears, I am a Bears fan.
That's not the case at all.
Okay. On to the next.
When the Buccaneers go on a game-winning drive, we'll see. So the last topic of the show is who's legit. The Titans almost won a 6-game winning streak. The Jets have already surpassed their preseason. What the expectation was at 5 wins. It was 4.5. They are a 6-win team. And last but not least, the Minnesota Vikings are 7-1, second best record in football. We're starting off with the Tennessee Titans, fellas. I had them finishing 7-10. I actually backtracked them making the playoffs going into the year. I got to ask you two, are the Titans legit? Because every single year we discount them, kind of like their brethren in the the Memphis Grizzlies, right? But they have an elite head coach, an elite defensive line in the interior, and Derrick Henry. This right now is a clear winner of the AFC South. Ultimately, can they win a playoff game?
I could see it. I believe every team in football right now is beatable. I don't think there's anybody that strikes the fear of God in you. I think they can steal one. I mean, think about it. They almost stole one from Kansas City. Why not? The Jets just beat the Bills, who isn't beatable in the AFC. So, yeah, I'm going to say they are legit. And I was against them going into the season. As long as Malik Willis isn't under center, yes, they are legit.
I'm laughing because I was just making a point by a Tom Brady led team, but I'm getting laughed at like, oh, they're a terrible team. They have no shot at winning, but okay. But any team is beatable now. I got you. All right. No, they're not a legit team.
Your anger is with John, not me.
No, I'm not. It angers at everybody because you were laughing along too. So I just wanted to be clear.
I thought the debate is ridiculous.
Because again, yeah, but now every team is beatable, right? I guess, the discussion changes all the time, right? The Titans are not legit. They are basically, you compare them to the Memphis Grizzlies. I compare them to the Atlanta Hawks of the NBA. They're not legit. They're a good team. They can win the division, but they're not going anywhere because of Ryan Tannehill under center.
Can they win a playoff game?
Against who? Give me a team. Because just saying they can
Kansas
win
City
a playoff
Chiefs.
game, no.
They almost just beat him with Malik Willis, who completed 5 passes.
Okay, but I'm going to trust Patrick Mahomes again.
In Arrowhead.
Mm-hmm. Because that's most likely where the game is going to be played.
Yeah, Marcus just beat them in a playoff game too. But
okay, but again, are we talking about past stuff now, John, or are we talking about currently right now? Because you didn't want to bring up 2014 Tom Brady, but now we're going to bring up,
it was a slight,
Marcus Mariota. Oh, now it's a joke. See, now it's a backtrack. John likes to backtrack a lot, guys, if you haven't noticed it.
I'm having fun
throughout the show.
And so Brandon doesn't kill me.
It's having fun.
Brandon, I'm picking the Buccaneers to win that game.
Yeah. Okay. What, against the Seahawks?
Yeah. So don't throw me in the.
No, I'm throwing you in there because you laughed along and played along with John
the
in
conversation
terms
is
of
funny.
the fact that I was making a case that a Tom Brady-led team can't win a freaking game or can't figure it out through the last end of the season.
I never refuted that.
I was just saying the Buccaneers have been playing bad football. It's just an objective fact.
I was arguing that point, John. That's the whole thing is you don't listen. You like to talk. You don't like to listen. Nobody was saying that they're not playing bad football. I said, were they in position to win a couple of games? But you wanted to talk about something else. I said, can they figure it out throughout November and December where Tom Brady usually plays his best? You're about to cut me off again. Where Tom Brady plays his best football. You want to talk about something else, but let's talk about the Titans, right? No, I don't believe that they're a contender. I don't believe that they're a legit team. They are a good team. They're a team maybe you would say nobody really wants to see in the playoffs because they can run the football at elite level and they can play defense at elite level. I think we can say that they have given Patrick Mahomes the toughest fits, except for maybe Bill Belichick. But again, he was able to put up points that Tom Brady was able to just deliver the drives at the end of the game. Oh no, another Tom Brady game-winning drive. Surprising. But yeah, Titans not legit, in my opinion.
None of us had the Jets beating the Bills on Sunday, but they held Josh Allen to his worst game of the season. And I'll be honest with you guys, just when we thought the Jets weren't real, they weren't a real playoff team after Zach Wilson's performance versus the Patriots, you go out and beat the best team arguably in the AFC, a division rival at that, and you're you're not tied, you're 6-3. You're basically half a game out from number 1 in the AFC East that so far this year has been the best division in football, which I did not expect to be saying, but I am saying it now. So I have to ask you two guys, with this Jets defense, are they a real playoff team? J-Ray?
No. Stop. Just no.
I think they are.
No, they're not. Why are you saying that? No, not. See, now I have to cut you off because I thought you were going to come in here and be honest and be real.
I am going to be honest.
No, you're not. You're not being honest because apparently you didn't watch the Patriots game.
I'm about to touch on that.
Okay, then let me hear your point, Sean. I mean, Justin, sorry.
I don't believe that Zach Wilson's going to go into Gillette Stadium and beat the Patriots this week. I don't think it's happening. But when I look at the rest of their schedule, I see a ton of winnable games. And while, yes, the Patriots game is winnable, yeah, I do. Because now, Brandon, just say what? Unmute yourself and say what? Because I'm looking at this schedule. The Bears, albeit playing better football, winnable game. The Vikings have been playing close games. They're not blowing the doors off of anybody. If they can go into Lambeau and beat Aaron Rodgers, they can beat the mighty Buffalo Bills. Why can't they beat Kirk Cousins? Why not? Then you got the Bills again in Buffalo. I expect them to get what was due to them and get smacked. But then you got the Lions, the Jaguars, the Seahawks, and the Dolphins. Those are all winnable games. This team is playing winning football. Zach Wilson looked like a completely different quarterback this Sunday than what he did against New England.
Are you saying the Jets can win this division?
No. I think Buffalo will still win the division. I'm not going to jump ahead of myself, but I see this team as a playoff team. I think they're going to get there. Like I said before, every team seems to be beatable to a degree. And if Zach Wilson isn't turning the football over, he's making good plays with his arm. He's not expected to do too much. As long as he's not throwing interceptions, leaning back and throwing it into traffic, then Yeah, the Jets can win some games. They have a good team. This isn't a bad football team, and they're coached well. So why not? I can see them actually making the playoffs. I don't want them to make the playoffs as a Patriots fan, but yeah, all of New York football is ahead of schedule.
My overreaction was a little bit because I was thinking about Miami's stretch to end the season, about a lot of winnable teams. Because spoiler, I think Miami's going 4-4 to finish the season. Um, but I mean, you say a lot of winnable games for the Jets, right? But I would like you to look at the Patriots schedule and you tell me how there's not a lot of winnable games on that schedule. Like we said, they play the Jets in New England coming up. They got a bye week and then they come back. They're getting Minnesota, not like the Jets are getting Minnesota at a 1 o'clock game. They're getting Minnesota in a primetime Thanksgiving game. Okay. They play the Bills twice. I said before the season, I still believe it. We are splitting with the Bills. I think you guys are probably more in favor of that now than you were 8 weeks ago, because of how you've seen the Bills, play a couple of games and how we have shown up a little bit better than you guys probably initially thought. We play the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, come on, I shouldn't have to speak. That speaks for itself.
Fun
We play,
offense.
fun off. Okay. We play the Raiders. We know Bill Belichick's history against former coaches, and Josh McDaniels has looked terrible this season. We play the Bengals. I'll give you that. That's probably a loss that you can mark on our schedule. It's in Gillette. Then we play the Dolphins in January 1st, New Year's Day, but in New England.
We haven't beat.
We're winning that game. That's a guarantee. We're winning that game. And then we go to Buffalo to end the season. That's a depending, because I think we're going to split. Maybe we win in New England, they win in Buffalo. But again, I'd like you to look at that and you tell me how there's not a winning schedule. So every team in the AFC East can't. I mean, they could realistically make the playoffs, but I don't think you're seeing that, Justin. So you tell me who you're really favoring here. Like you're saying the Jets got a winnable schedule. You're saying I just gave you the Patriots. Look at the Dolphins. Theirs is not that favorable. The Bills are winning the division. Help me understand here right now.
I think the last 3 games on the Patriots season are their demise.
They're not losing to the Dolphins in New England, dude. They're not.
I thought the same thing last year.
No, what do you mean?
Tua is undefeated against us.
Wasn't that game in Miami or was that in New England?
What happened, John?
Never lost.
I said, was that in New England or was that in Miami?
Well,
that makes a big difference.
Any of Tua starts against. My point remains.
But again, that makes a big difference.
My point remains that Tua has not lost to the Patriots.
That doesn't okay, but
hasn't lost this year when he finished the game.
O's are always meant to have a 1 next to it, though.
You're right.
Okay, so again,
but it's just my honest opinion. I do not feel like our offense is going to be able to keep up with the Bengals.
But that's not the point of the game. It's our defense shutting that offense down. That's what you're not seeing.
It does.
We held them to 20 points in the first game.
This segment is about the Jets, debut. Not the Patriots.
It doesn't matter. Oh my God.
Not the Patriots being legit. Because, like I said, the Jets have a – tell me the Jets don't have a more – if the Patriots have the schedule the Jets have at the end of the season, would we feel more optimistic? Yes.
I feel pretty optimistic about our schedule. I just read you off a bunch of games that we could easily win.
Easily. I can't say any of those games are easily with this team. The defense looks fantastic, but guess what? We bullied Sam Ehlinger and we bullied Zach Wilson. The Bears ran all over us. They destroyed us. There is nothing to feel comfortable about in any single game unless it was against a quarterback like a Sam Ehlinger, and I'm confident against Zach Wilson. But any single game, the rest of the way, from Minnesota and down, and you know what? Maybe Minnesota I might take a little lightly because I think we can bully Kirk Cousins. But outside of that game, every single one of them, I am not putting my money on because I just don't know. I don't know what version of Mac Jones I'm going to get. We're facing Kyler Murray. Are they going to be able to run all over us the same way the Bears did? I'm concerned. The Bengals have a high-powered offense. They can run and they can pass. Are we going to be able to sustain our defense there? Is he not going to torch us up? Because we have seen Josh Allen torch our defense up, Joe Burrow can do the same because he has more weapons, in my opinion. And then the Dolphins, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, we saw them in week 1. Now they have more chemistry, and we're going to see them in week 17.
Mike McDaniel, more experience.
That's what I'm saying. And then ending the season in Buffalo. That is no joke of a schedule. That is a tough way to end a season. The Jets have a smoother schedule, and albeit the Jets aren't a perfect team, so every single one of those games should be a close one. They'll be nail biters. They'll have to grind for them. But if I wish that I had the Lions, the Jaguars, and the Seahawks at the end of my schedule. We don't have that.
Let's keep it a buck. One of these 3 AFC East teams is going to fall off. It's not going to be the Bills. And if you had to ask me between the Patriots, Jets, and Dolphins, Jets, most potential, best schedule by far. Dolphins, best team, second best head coach, who's honestly should have been awesome. I had to look at New England with the worst quarterback play, the worst offense. Hey, look, they're going to get Josh McDaniels in a year. That'll help the play calling. I had to take them and pull them off to the side. 7-1 team.
But you know what, John? Honestly, and I say this as an honest Patriot fan, this might sound crazy. I hope we miss the playoffs. For the simple fact that, dude, our offense sucks. And nothing's going to change if we end up making another season in the playoffs, if we get there. And it's like, oh, wow, look, we actually made it. We made it here now.
Remember I said to you guys set to week 2?
We did this. No, something needs to change because Mac has regressed. And it's because Bill, in Bill we trust, and I'm kind of sick of it. He surrounded him with Matt Patricia and Joe Judge calling plays. If you want your quarterback to grow, that's not how you do it. We need to freaking fail for somebody to wake the hell up in that organization and get him a true number 1 wide receiver to utilize the skill set that he actually has to build off what was a fantastic rookie year. So yeah, I have zero confidence in this Patriots team going forward. I don't think we're going to win a playoff game, even if we get there. I really don't.
Not.
It's honestly because of the offense. I am pissed off at who's calling plays. Our offense is stale. Our offense was boring with Josh McDaniels towards the tail end. We need change. And nothing is changing. The Jets look better than us. And I would argue they were probably a Breece Hall away or Zach Wilson 2 dumb passes away from possibly losing a game.
And BCAP Scots, when you do that, if that pick 6 at the end of the half doesn't get called back,
because
that would
you
have been a
can't just
blowout.
go tick for tat with that.
But
you can't go tick for
You're
tat
acting
because
like the Jets can't beat New England when we saw they were 1 penalty away from beating New England by multiple scores, maybe, if Zach Wilson has less pressure on him. So I really don't think it's crazy to say the Jets can't split with them. Patriots, they're going to take advantage of the young quarterback.
Dude,
I just think it's a bad matchup for the Jets while they're a better team.
This is insane. This is insane.
I don't
But
think
okay. Nobody said the Patriots are winning a playoff game. I literally came on here 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago when we lost to the Bears. Again, another reason why you guys don't listen to what I'm saying.
I was just ranting.
I know. I said I don't give up F about this season. It's done. It's over. Whatever they do, it's gonna happen. I'm on to next season. But I'm still going to look at it realistically. And I'm going to say, again, don't know where the Jets affinity came from again. We just beat them. And the score was not what really the game was. We were beating them bad. The defense was owning that offense. And you just came on here 2 weeks ago or a week ago, John, and talked about how all these struggles with the Jets and Zach Wilson's coming off injury, Breece Hall's injured, the offensive line's injured, Garrett Wilson's not playing up to speed, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. Now you're hyping them up like, oh, it's not unrealistic to say that they could split with the Jets, even though they're coming to Foxborough and he's played like crap every time he stepped foot against the Patriots. But okay.
How did Mac Jones do against the Jets, bro?
A win like that.
How did Mac Jones do?
Huh?
How did Mac Jones do against the Patriots? Against Jets?
But that's fine. That's not what our offense is built on. Our offense is built on running the ball and getting play action.
What's the Jets offense built on? What's the Jets offense built off of?
Is it the same thing? Well, Zach Wilson's making dumb errors, is he not? He played a pretty clean game last week, but is he going to continue that? I need to see it week in and week out.
You're right, but you can't say, like, the NFL changes week to week. one win that happens, like this win for Tampa against the Rams, maybe that's something that can catapult this team. A win like that against the Buffalo Bills for the Jets can be a big confidence booster for a locker room. They can go on a run here. I'm not, and like I said, I don't see them beating New England and Foxborough. I really just don't. But outside of that, I think they have a fair chance against every single team. Every single team. But yeah, on to the next.
The last team, fellas, is the Minnesota Vikings. 7-1 to start this year, and look, they haven't all been domineering victories, but this last Sunday, Kirk Cousins got his W in Washington against the team that didn't want to fully guarantee his contract, and now we're looking at a Viking team that will be hosting a playoff game. More than likely this year, because the Packers have been absolute dog water, and after their sixth loss, this one to the Lions, they have reached such a low point, I think it's safe to assume that entire organization deserves to be slandered in every possible way. With all of that being said, given how bad this division is in Minnesota, are they kind of like the Steelers of 2020, where, hey, look, they're winning games, but they're not very convincing. The record lies to you. Or are the Vikings frauds?
They're about to lose 3 straight games. So if that answers your question, that answers your question.
Who's their
Straight
schedule?
up, they're about to lose to
I
the
agree
Bills.
with
They're
you,
about to
Brandon.
lose to the Cowboys, and they're about to lose to the Patriots. Straight up.
Do you not believe in Kirk?
Why am I going to believe in Kirk? You guys ride Bills nuts? No. You guys like the Cowboys' pass defense? Kirk Cousins playing in primetime on Thanksgiving against the Patriots? You tell me how I'm crazy. I mean, Justin just talked about how the Jets have a pretty easy schedule and they'll beat the Vikings. That might be 4 straight, is it not?
I said they can.
Tell me I'm crazy, right? They're going to lose 3 straight games.
The Vikings run the football very well.
That's great.
They're going to lose 3 straight.
They're going to lose 3 straight games. Because they don't beat the Kirk Cousins record against the Dallas Cowboys. Go look it up. It's god awful. I think he's actually winless. The Bills just got embarrassed by the Jets. I think Josh Allen's going to come with a fury and fire. I think you guys are going to be picking the Buffalo Bills on Thursday morning when we do our pick 'em. And the Patriots again, primetime game, Thanksgiving. They're going to lose that game. So tell me I'm crazy. 3 straight. How quickly, again, this thing can happen where we raise a team up, right? And then how quickly it can fall, how quickly, the NFL landscape can change. But we just, saw that when
After those 3 games, fellas, they have the Jets at home, which is a pretty winnable game. I think those are 2 even teams. Maybe the Vikings have a slight edge. Then you have Detroit, the Colts, the Giants, the Packers, which should be an easy win, and the Bears. So that right there is 5 games against the Bears, Packers, Colts, Lions, and Jets. They're going to be favored in. Maybe in all 6 of those games if you include the Giants week. So they can lose 3 straight and still finish with 12 or 13 wins because of how easy this division is.
Nobody's saying, I think me and Justin are not saying they're not going to make the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to win the division, but they're losing 3 straight games is what we're saying.
But what if they're the number 2 seed and they go up against a Giants or, I don't know, a 49ers in the first round?
The 49ers. You believe in Kirk Cousins in primetime?
Not at all.
Okay, then that answers your question.
He's just playing devil's advocate right now.
But really,
no, I think he actually
Giants,
wants to believe in the Vikings. I think he actually wants to believe in the Vikings, but he can't.
If they can play the Giants in the first round, the Giants in the 7th seed, they can win a playoff game. And all of a sudden,
I think the Giants will hope that they go up against the Minnesota.
That's a good matchup. I would like that game. Or a rematch, Giants Seahawks. I like both of those matchups. So, Big Cap, you're just out on the Vikings. Even with TJ Hawkinson coming and making a huge impact in game 1.
I was never in on the Vikings because of Kirk Cousins. So I don't know what you don't listen when I talk, John.
I do.
I've never been in on the Vikings ever because of Kirk Cousins.
But TJ Hawkinson was great this last week.
I don't care. When your quarterback's throwing it to the other team, that means jack all.
Kirk Cousins has not been thrown to the other team every single week.
When he plays in prime time, John, stop being slick. You know what I'm talking about.
They could have lost the last 2 games.
They could have. I feel like the Commanders are going to take that game from them.
Wait, who said who picked Washington? I know they lost, but who picked Washington to beat the Vikings? So I mean, it didn't look that crazy, right? Taylor Heineke, my guy, yo.
And
That
a
triple
given
coverage
Sunday.
pass. You see
I
that
haven't
throw?
even seen that.
You see that throw? What?
Taylor Heineke has become the new Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Nah, stop it. That's Geno Smith.
No, don't do Gino like that.
That's not disrespectful.
That's
Ryan
disrespect.
Fitzpatrick had swagger, bro. Stop it. Don't do that. Ryan Fitzpatrick had swagger.
So is Taylor Heineke.
He does have some swagger. I like his swagger. I like that kid.
So with all that being said, I'll wrap up episode number 47 of the Wise Guys podcast. Thank you so much for watching and staying to the very end. If you stayed to the end, be sure to let us know in the comments down below and check out, of course, Best Stamp. The link is in the description. The Wise Guys code WISEGUYS if you like to download the app. And as always, we'll see you
Stay classy.
next time. That was really poorly timed.
I thought you were gonna say we'll see you next time, and then I was gonna go stay classy.
Who says we will see you? Stay classy.